Hello everyone and welcome. This is the latest educational webinar for GTA partners. Today's webinar is going to be presented by Hugh Thomas from the Global Fishing Watch and Rodrigo Hazin, co-founder of the Atlantic Alliance for Sustainable Tuna. And they're both going to be presenting on the newly launched Open Tuna initiative in Brazil, with Hugh kicking us off with an introduction to the Global Fishing Watch. So the Open Tuna initiative publishes logbook and tracking data from Brazil's tuna fleet on the Open Tuna website, which was developed with technical support from the Global Fishing Watch and Oceana. And the aim is to create a collated, digitized storeroom of data on Brazil's coastal catch of tunas and swordfish. It's also going to allow filtered searches of logbooks for the entire longline fleet. So really interesting. It's going to be particularly of interest to GTA partners who are interested in increasing the transparency of their sourcing. The project released public tracking data last month with the Global Fishing Watch, but practically you may be interested in the process that the Open Tuna initiative have used, because within our 5-year strategy, it notes that GTA partners will commit to buy only from vessels that publicly share vessel tracking data. So you can see the direct link there. The webinar is going to be recorded and made available via the GTA website. I know there's several people who are on holiday, but we're really interested in the webinar. For those of you who are here, please can you keep your microphones on mute during the webinar to avoid any feedback issues or background noise. Both Rodrigo and Hugh would love to hear from you. There will be time for questions at the end. We'll keep the questions to the end rather than in between the two presentations. For those of you who have joined during the introduction, welcome, and I'm delighted to introduce Hugh and Rodrigo. So I'll hand it over to you first, Hugh.
Thank you, Tom. Let me just share my screen. Okay, hopefully you can see my screen. Perfect. So thank you for giving Global Fishing Watch the opportunity with Open Tuna present today. I'm working with Global Fishing Watch part-time, helping them with some of the forced labour risk work which will be covered today, and to explore if and how Global Fishing Watch can work with seafood buyers such as yourselves. Challenge already. How do I click down? Sorry. So in the short introduction to handing over to Rodrigo for the main event, I'll talk about who Global Fishing Watch are. I'll briefly introduce Marine Manager, which is a new tool that was released last month. I'll talk about the forced labour risk model, and then cover the Global Fishing Watch asks and how they cross over into the GTA plans. So who is Global Fishing Watch? Global Fishing Watch is an independent NGO. Their scope is global. The purpose is to enhance public knowledge about human activity at sea. We also hope that by publishing information for free, we can support the acceleration of scientific research, and we hope this will support fair and sustainable use of the oceans and aid in the development of policies that protect fisheries and livelihoods. We do this through promoting that fishing vessels and fisheries data is made public so that a wide range of stakeholders have access and collaborate to use it. To date, the focus has been publishing a parent fishing effort based on the use of AIS data. This slide shows the density of AIS in 2018, all vessels, not just fishing. Global Fishing Watch applies machine learning to AIS data with more than 60 million points of information per day to determine which vessels appear to be fishing when and where, as well as what type of gear they're using. You can see on this slide that the vessel tracks of those 60 million plus data points per day, and the brighter the tracks, the more hours of vessel presence per 100 kilometers squared. AIS has, of course, its limits, and AIS should not be relied on as the only data source for managing fisheries or for many reasons, which can include signals being switched off, tampered with to change apparent location, and can be expensive for small fishing vessel operators. So should not be the only source of information for fisheries management, but can be used as an indication alongside other data sources such as vessel monitoring systems, authorizations, and registry information to build a comprehensive view. So Global Fishing Watch is all about informed action. And once the analysts have identified fishing activity, what do they do with that information? The general principle is access to fisheries and fishing vessel data can be used to support monitoring, control and surveillance efforts at governments. The team of analysts cross-check the data they see on AIS with additional information such as VMS, authorizations, licenses and registry information to build a picture. And when that picture is built, it's easier to identify potential non-compliance. As an example, a vessel that would regularly change vessel identification information or reports via AIS or regularly appears to be fishing in areas not authorized may be something that's highlighted to ports. We can't determine absolutely, but we can provide an indication of risk to the relevant authorities, and then it's up to the authorities to use the data to inform their existing management efforts, whether that's port inspections, flag state responsibilities, or at-sea boarding. The risk-based approach that Global Fishing Watch uses is cost-effective and making sure that resources are targeted at potential issues instead of thrown in at all vessels on an ad hoc basis. The Global Fishing Watch work continues to evolve as ways to use the insight and data becomes apparent. And the latest tool developed and launched by Global Fishing Watch last month is Marine Manager. Marine Protected Area Manager can effectively use their limited resources to manage large-scale protection and avoid paper parks. New areas of protection are set up with the best available science, and impacts on these sites can be monitored over time. More accessible maps of human activity and environmental data are available to support dynamic management. The Marine Manager portal provides information to governments, researchers, academics, and others who want to see the marine protected areas of the world effectively managed, especially as the ambition to have 30% of the world's oceans protected by 2030 becomes a reality. So moving on to other uses for data and insight, traditionally at Global Fishing Watch, we provided this analysis to governments to inform them of IUU risks by their flagged vessels and by vessels entering their waters. As more evidence of forced labour in the seafood world was brought to light by media articles and NGOs that you will all be very familiar with, Global Fishing Watch wanted to see if the technology could contribute to a solution that is free of charge and open to everybody. So the research team at Global Fishing Watch partnered with the University of California, Santa Barbara to find out whether the analysis of AIS data cross-checked with risk indicators of forced labour instead of IUU fishing could be used to predict risk of forced labour on board vessels instead of the risk of non-compliance or risks of IUU fishing. And after 2 years of work, the research suggests, yes, the concept can be proven. The research suggests that satellite vessel monitoring data could be combined with expertise from human rights practitioners to predict risk at the vessel level. So can the technology be applied to this, and does it work? It seems so. A paper was released in December 2020, which outlines the full methods and findings, but briefly, it looks like they can. The team built a database of cases of fishing vessels publicly known to have used forced labour. Sources included media articles, NGO reports, and embassy releases. The authors chose to use the 11 ILO indicators of forced labour as the benchmark criteria for determining whether forced labour was present. So each of these cases had to mention information that explicitly met one or more of the criteria to be included. In addition to that, the vessel had to be visible via AIS at the time of the reported use of forced labour, so that on the Global Fishing Watch map at the time of the article or the NGO report, it could be seen. The database was used to train the model, but due to an initial limited data set of only 23 vessels, the confidence levels weren't high, but this is an issue that we'll come back to. The study focused on forced labour as it was thought that this could be observed through vessel characteristics and behaviours observable through satellite monitoring, whereas other human rights violations such as absence of decent working conditions could not be observed with satellite monitoring of vessel behaviour. You can see a selection of the characteristics and behaviours that are observable on this slide, and 5 of the most significant are highlighted in bold, which are engine power, daily fishing hours on the high seas, number of voyages, and maximum distance from port. The authors predicted that vessels using forced labour could behave differently to those that don't, for example, by spending longer at sea and visiting ports fewer. In total, the Global Fishing Watch authors were able to analyse the 23 vessels and could see that there was these characteristics were shown. The model is then going to be applied to 16,000 plus vessels that are visible in the Global Fishing Watch system, with a view to seeing if it can be worked further. To put it simply, the model can identify where vessels behave similarly to those known to have used forced labour on board. The end vision, if you like, is that the model becomes a tool that can be used by multiple stakeholders to assess vessels and provide an indication of risk. Flag states can assess all fishing vessels that appear to have risk and prioritise for their own inspections. Coastal states can assess foreign vessels operating in their waters and prioritise deployment. Port states can assess vessels before they enter port, and especially where they are C188 port states, the inspections can be combined. The seafood industry can assess vessels throughout their supply chains and inform audit requirements, and acknowledge that tracking and tracing down to vessel level is difficult, and civil society can focus their efforts. At the moment, it's a concept. And so we believe that realistically, before we can think that realistically this model can be a useful tool, we need to address the gaps. So in the end, we need data. And the call to you is, can you help providing some of this data for some of your vessels, so that actually we can put them into the model where we know that there are cases where there's no issues, so that the model can be better worked. We recognise there is a need for security and privacy, and non-disclosure agreements can be arranged, and make sure that any data that's publicised can be redacted. Before I hand over to Rodrigo, I also wanted to point out that the Global Tuna Alliance 5-year plan ambitions and 25 PST resonate and match the Global Fishing Watch general allows for seafood buyers, which include public tracking of vessels with VMS AAS, support the publication of authorised vessel lists, which include data being shared with the FAO Global Record, and supports the adoption and proliferation of unique vessel identification irrespective of vessel size. I'll now hand over to Rodrigo to talk to you more specifically about the Open Tuna initiative that he's been working on with Global Fishing Watch. Thank you, Rodrigo.
Okay, Hugh. Nice. Okay, let me share my screen. Everybody can see?
Yes.
Okay. Good afternoon to all. I will talk about the Open Tuna initiative, which before I will explain a little bit about the Atlantic Alliance for Sustainable Tuna, which is one of the members of Open Tuna. So let me just a second here. Okay. The Atlantic Tuna Alliance for Sustainable Tuna introduced an innovative, audacious, and disruptive concept of the tuna fishing chain through the union of producers, processors, and consumers around coordinated ideas and actions aimed to promoting sustainable tuna fishery in the Atlantic Ocean and the incentive of responsible consumption of tuna by customers, restaurants, and supermarkets. So we put the local industry together with the producers of tuna, and we created this alliance to working more in sustainable fisheries. The founding members of the alliance are some tuna producers, which we work close for over 20 years, Mar Aberto, Transmar, the processing industries, the local processing industries, restaurants, and a technology provider who is developing all the technology we are using for ensuring the sustainability of our fisheries. Here is just a picture of the Alliance fleet, which are pretty much nowadays with the new members. We are ranging now 30 tuna vessels, all longliners. Okay, this fleet represents 95% of the Brazilian exports of fresh tunas, all sushi quality. All of these fish pretty much going to US market and Brazilian market. US represents nowadays almost 90% of Brazilian exports. And this fleet catches mostly big-eye tunas, but also yellowfin, albacore, swordfish. But just to give example, the big-eye tuna catches, nowadays we have pretty much 30% of US market in big eyes, not in yellowfins. Why we decided to make this move? You know, we were seeing an increasing offer of tunas in the market without good quality, without transparency, without control of origin, you know, no traceability at all. You know, we are competing with illegal IUU fishing pretty much in both Brazilian and international markets. We can't see a differentiation for the Brazilian tuna in the markets. You know, despite we have 30% of the markets, our fish is just one more fish in the market. Nobody knows what we are doing. Nobody knows what we already do and what we are going to do. So we want to show and we want to work in our only label for showing we are doing different. So another issue we find is, you know, many NGOs, international NGOs, list longline fishery in the red list, and like Seafood Watch, Fish Wise, Fish Choice, and then we can't access some markets in US and in other places because we are in the red list. And why we are in red list? Because, you know, longline fishery interacts with seabirds, turtles, mammals, among other issues. But so we need to show, we understood we needed to show what we are doing different here. Why our fisheries here in northeast of Brazil is different, is more sustainable, and maybe in some time in the road we can at least move to the yellow list, and then we could access already many potential good clients for our tunas. Also, we are seeing increasing costs of production, processing, logistics, and we understand if we are working together, we can save lots of costs. There are many synergies can be reached if we work as a only group. So that are the main points driving us to this move to the alliance. So the commitments taken by the alliance are, you know, make a legal, sustainable, and transparent catch. You know, all the fleet, all the crew must be registered, must follow all the laws in regards of all kinds of registrations we need to follow, and there are many. Report data, you know, fill the logbooks, and make this data transparent to the public. Ensure the quality, you know, guarantee all the fish sold by Alliance comes from an industry authorized by federal government, inspected by FDA, by European Union, by you know, all these organs. You know, what we see nowadays is lots of tunas being caught by handline fishery here in Brazil, which is in the green side of that list. And, you know, many vessels don't have register, don't have fishing license, are not following the label laws, and they are in the green list. And we are doing everything correct and are in the red list. So, and these people unload fish in the beach, put in a truck, and sells in São Paulo market, for instance, and competing with our tunas. and without any control. So we want to ensure the quality, the full traceability in the chain. We already do traceability. We are obligated to do traceability in our industry, but we are developing a tool to do this in the blockchain technology. This is ready already. I will show this further. Also, we plan to connect producers and clients in an e-commerce platform, which are being developed right now. We want to cut more and more the intermediate man. What we see, even in US or in São Paulo, is these intermediate people, they are not caring about how the fishery is being done, nothing about sustainability. They don't have any costs involved, and they are just intermediating the fish and making their own profits, which is fine. But who is doing the right job is not taking the best part of the pie. We should get more profit, selling more directly to the markets. This is our goal too. As well, continue promoting the research and science, which I will discuss a little bit about this further, but we are already doing research and science for many years. And responsible consumption. So we want to bring the restaurants where we sell our tunas to the environment of the Alliance. We want them to become members of Alliance and understand why they should buy our tunas and not tunas without any kind of origin or quality or sustainability concept. So this is how to show to the markets what we are doing. We understood we needed to have partners involved in this project, and this is why we have invited NGOs and university to join Open Tuna initiative. We believed we could put lots of effort together, coordinating efforts with different NGOs in different areas, and make show results for reaching these objectives. So we made the launch of the Open Tuna back to August 2019, just before this COVID issue. Who are members of Open Tuna initiative? Oceana, which I'm sure everyone knows, Global Fishing Watch, which we just saw this great presentation. Projeto Albatroz, which has joined this group, and I will let her talk about her a little bit later in the moment of we talk about what we are doing with Projeto Albatroz. But Projeto Albatroz is doing a great work in Brazil for over 30 years. They are based mostly in South and Southeast. They have 5 bases all over the Brazilian coast, caring about protection of the albatrosses and petrels. They also represent Brazil in all international forums regarding albatrosses and seabirds in general. Projeto Tamar is an institute of Brazilian government who makes a wonderful work in protecting turtles all over Brazilian coast. I will detail a little bit also later. The Federal Rural University of Pernambuco, which the people behind them in the Department of Fisheries are the scientists involved in majority of research of tuna and tuna-like species. Also, they are the guys representing Brazil in all international forums like CAT, FAO, United Nations. So they have been making science of tuna and tuna-like species for over 30 years either. The Atlantic Tuna Alliance, and Paixe, which is a consulting company specialized in promoting responsible consumption. They work with supermarkets in São Paulo area. So this is the intention letter signed by everyone. We have the following objectives. We are going to develop work together, actions together to reach those objectives. the use of efficient tools and systems for tuna fisheries monitoring, the transparency in the tuna fishery and data management, the best solutions for traceability in the tuna fishery chain, the promotion of scientific research, minimizing the impact on bycatch of incidental catches of the longline tuna fishery, and the development of new business configurations with innovative fish marketing and distribution strategies. Those are the main objectives of Open Tuna. So what we have done so far with each of those members. With Oceana, we have developed a new concept of monitoring, transparency, and public access to the information over catches of our fleet. So our technological arm, Tuna Intelligence, has developed an app which reproduces exactly the logbook, which is obligation to be filled by each single fishing vessel in Brazil. So this so far is still being made by written. And now we have developed the electronic catch logbook, which reproduces exactly the same as the government. So the fishermen now are filling these logbooks on board in an electronic format. And this data goes straight to a database managed directly by Oceana. So all the information we get from our fishermen also goes straight to Oceana, which has invested in a database in our website, the website of Open Tuna, where you have the total catches, how many pieces were caught, how many fishing trips were monitored, how many sets were performed, and you can see this by species. Okay. You also have a description of how many from the total catches, what was big-eye tuna, what was swordfish, what was yellowfin tuna, albacore. So this is generated automatically every time we input data. And this has a public access. Anyone can go there and can make different filters, and by year, by month, by the fishing vessel, by company, by quantity, by species. And so you can generate different data records. Our plan is to have different levels of access, a general access to the public with not so detailed data, access to research people, and access to the government with full data available for them. So this is how comes from the system, from the e-catch. So goes the different logbooks. We also recovered trips back to 5 years for some of these vessels from Alliance fleet, and then we feed this database. This is the goal. In the end, this information filled out electronically will generate the what we call mapa de bordo, which is the logbook in Brazil. We are forced by law to fill this logbook, and this has to be delivered to government, who process the data for statistics, ICAT, everything else. So the system already generate this map in PDF format, which can be transferred to the government, transmitted to the government. So this is a challenge of continuous training. We have been training the fishing crew on board of Alliance fleet. This system is fully proven, is validated, already in being used, not yet in all the Alliance fleet, but now we are going to put it all over the vessels. You know, we prove it, we validated, we improve it, and now it's ready to become available for all the Alliance fleet. With Global Fishing Watch, I have not presented the maps exactly like the previous presentation done by Global Fishing watch here. I talked would show something of that, but the goal with Global Fishing Watch is to generate public online tracking of the Atlantic tuna vessels. You know, we have opened our VMS data for Global Fishing Watch. They have worked the both engineering groups from Global Fishing Watch, worked together with the company in Brazil who provides the VMS signal for government. This is mandatory also. We have to have VMS on board. So we opened this data to Global Fishing Watch, which has included our data in their global platform. So you can see here, Brazil Open Tuna activity. So all of our vessels from Alliance, Atlantic Tuna Alliance, are available in the Global Fishing Watch platform. You can play in different ways, also many filters. You can see each single vessel from Atlantic Tuna Alliance in their platform, and they recovered the data back to 2012. So it's amazing. You can see the vessels going out, coming back since 2012. So, and from now on, this is available to the public in our website too. Okay, anyone can go there and access this data in real time. So what is about to start? You know, because the COVID, we could not start many of the projects with some of the members, which would involve fishing trips, observers, things like that. So we are just starting now the part of the project with Projeto Albatross and Projeto Tamar. With the main objective with them is validating new electronic monitoring technologies and training fishing crew for best practices in releasing seabirds and sea turtles, incidentally caught. So what we plan to do with them is validate some technologies. We are going to have video cameras on board to show, to track presence of seabirds, which we know we don't have this issue in northeast of Brazil. And I will let Tatiana, which is the founder of Projeto Albatross and the leader of Projeto Albatross, explain a little bit about that. And also, they are working together with Projeto Tamar for training our crew for best practices for releasing the seabirds and sea turtles, which we incidentally caught. We know we are not going to have the issues of seabirds here in northeast of Brazil. We pretty much zero. But the sea turtles, yes, we have not as many as in south of Brazil. But so we are going to train. You know, we have laws in Brazil. We are obligated to use circle hooks, which we already use for 30 years. But now, in the past 3-4 years, is mandatory now. We have to carry specific tools for releasing the sea turtles in a proper way. So every single vessel has to carry these tools. We also, in regards of sea turtles, yeah, pretty much that. So we are going to work with Projeto Albatross and Projeto Tamar in these objectives. They just had a meeting back to June where they made this training. Projeto Tamar trained the Projeto Albatross team in order to Projeto Albatross train our people here. I will let Tatiana speak about this. I think it's great having her here. She can just make a quick introduction about what Projeto Albatross does. I guess it's a good opportunity. Here are the pictures of this last Saturday. They just opened the new base of Projeto Albatross in Natal, here in our plant. So from here, she will conduct all of this project with us. So Tatiana, why don't you just explain what Project Albatross does. I guess you can tell better than me. Tatiana?
Okay.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Let me see myself. So let me introduce myself. I am Tatiana Neves. I guess Rodrigo already explained very well what we are planning to do with the Aliança fleet, but I can give some details. For example, we have Brazilian law that forced the mitigation measure to avoid the seabirds bycatch in tuna fisheries south of 20 degrees. That means involved the south and southeast region of Brazil. So the Alliance fleet is not operating in this area mostly, but they are very important partners to allow us to test some electronic monitoring tools like video cameras and satellite VMS tools that is already included in our Brazilian law that enforce some mitigation measure to avoid seabirds bycatch. So in this law that was published in the first time in 2011 and then more recently in 2014, this law was revised. This law is obligates the vessels that operate in south of 20 degrees to use the tory lines. I'm not sure if you are familiar with, but there's is a tory lines or streamer lines sometimes. In some places they change the names. This name is a tool to scaring the birds. It's carrying bird line. I mean that put the birds far from the eastern of the vessel during the setting operations, and also the night settings of the hooks, and also some weighting regimes to make the line go deeper fast, to avoid the birds interaction with the hooked, baited hook. So these three measures are enforced in the southern Brazil, but we know that the compliance is too low so far. So we need some tools to verify if the fishermen are using this mitigation measure at sea. So this is a hard task. And with the Alliance fleet, we are developing the monitoring systems with the cameras and VMS to use this to verify the use of mitigation measure. So we can do this in the northeast of the country, where is the Alliance fleet operation area, where we have no seabirds mostly, that is safe for the birds to make this test without without any problems with the law. That is not this measure is not enforced in that area, and also we have no birds that is security for the birds. So we are planning to do this test for the next years in at least 3 vessels of the Alliance, not the Alliance whole fleet, but 3 vessels, at least 20 fishing trips, that is 200 settings or fishing settings. This is all for now.
Okay, Tatiana, thank you very much. Okay, just to give example of what Projeto Tamar has done so far in the last 40 years, they has sent back to the sea over 37 millions of young turtles. They are all over Brazilian coast, 1,100 kilometers of Brazilian coast and oceanic islands. And this is what they do in all of these places where they are based, the Brazilian coast, from north to south. So they are going to be part of Open Tuna also in order. Also, we in the Observer, Scientific Observer program, we are going to generate data, scientific data, in regards of the turtles' interactions and eventually seabirds interactions in northeast of Brazil in order to talk better about our fisheries. So what is next? With the University of Federal University of Pernambuco, we are going to launch a permanent scientific observer program where we are going to have 2 permanent observers going out in the sea in all the fleet, generating different kind of scientific data, which are targets for the Brazilian government. So they have many programs or for ICAT purposes, and that is going to start in the second half of the year. Okay, we already did many scientific observer trips in the past. Just to give example, this is a register of the first scientific research conducted in one of the vessels of the Alliance. And we had over 200 scientific papers produced in the past 30 years in different vessels, which are now members of Alliance. And that data was provided for Brazil has presented in ICAT meetings, in different meetings all over the world, and as well for Brazilian programs. And with PAIS, we plan to launch a responsible consumption program with restaurants and supermarkets in Brazil. That also will start in the second half of the year. So I invite everybody to go and see what we have already done in the Open Tuna website. It's there, what was said here. The programs with Oceana and Global Fishing Watch are available already in Open Tuna website. Just talking a bit about the technological solutions we are developing, which are connected with our goals to reach the sustainable fisheries. We have the Report Tuna, the Track Tuna apps. Also, we are developing some kind of certification in blockchain for ensuring many aspects of our fishery. I will detail just quickly. And we have also planned to launch a tuna token, which will connect all these environments. So that is the APP Report Tuna, which are promoting transparency of the tuna catch records, and also will certify the regularity of fishing operations and registrations of the vessels and companies. Okay, this is, as I said, validated in use in our vessels already. The Track Tuna is a tool for ensuring full traceability through the tuna production chain from vessel to client using blockchain technology. This already is developed, is already in test. We are improving. We are collecting data from the vessel. We are using now a QR code and RFID label in the tunas. So we are collecting data from the vessel, position, day, a photo of the fish. So comes to the industry, we attribute a lot number. We perform all kind of analysis in the fish, histamine tests, temperature records from the entire process until goes to the airport, during the trip, and when arrives in the client. So all of this information, documents, certificates, sanitary certificates, ICAT certificates, NOAA certificates, all of this information will become available to the public in the blockchain technology. So to ensure nobody can change that information. Since it's in blockchain, I don't know if you are aware of blockchain, but blockchain guarantees that information is untouchable. If you try to change, everybody will know you changed the information, who changed the information, what they was changed. So the advantage of blockchain is to guarantee this integrity of the information through the tuna chain production. So nowadays, and for the past 10, 15 years, our tunas already comes fully tracked. You know, this is also mandatory for our sanitary department, for FDA, for European Union. So we have already the traceability of our tunas, but you know, this is not said to the market. The public don't have access to that. This is just for compliance with authority. So we are going to, with this project, make this information available also to the public. This is an example of what we are developing for a kind of certification step. And it's interesting to talk about this. You know, we have MSC, we have many kind of certification process talking about the fishery itself. Our goal is to do different. We are going to talk about each single fish from each vessel of the Atlantic Tuna Alliance. Every single trip will be tracked in different aspects, different levels of certification steps. So we are going to have legal steps where we are going to check if the fishing license is valid, if the ICAT registration is valid, if the registration in the IMO, the unique identify number is valid, which they are. All the Atlantic tuna vessels are registered in all of these places. Also, if has the registration through Navy in Brazil, which is another kind of registration. Also, if the vessel was checked by Navy, if the social aspects are being looked at, if the fishing crew is fully registered through the labor law, if they have insurance, if the vessel was inspected for safety issues, also if the vessel is giving transparency to the data of the catch through the programs with Global Fishing Watch, through the programs with Oceana, also with the data we are going to generate with Project Albatross and Project Tamar. If they are following the laws in terms of filling the log books, the catch books, the catch reports, if they are listed in the registration through federal government as a company, legal company, making invoices, declaring invoices, everything else. So we have different levels of for also quality. We are going to track many other things regarding stamina test analysis, blah, blah, blah. If the vessel is tracked in the blockchain, the tuna are tracked in the blockchain. Also, in the eco-friendly step, we are going to look different things, turtles, seabirds. The programs are in place, the Brazilian law for forbidden species, the marine reserves, many other aspects. So this is going to be done in an automatic way, checked for different validation steps, and maybe with different, not only ourselves, we are in process of discussion internally about this, but what is going to be done? Since everything checked, all these 50 steps are checked and validated, then automatically the blockchain validated a certificate that vessel is tracked, legal, quality was checked, it's 100% checked. And then you can see here the input in the blockchain platform. Okay, so this is what we are going to do for ensuring our tunas are following everything I just show it to you, everything we want to comply with the project with Open Tuna. I guess that's it. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you for the opportunity to introduce what we are doing here. This is just the start point. You know, we just started a few months ago. We had this disease in the way, but the second half of the year, we are going to really put many of these tools and projects in place. And
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Rodrigo, and for Hugh for the introduction to Global Fishing Watch as well. We have got some time for questions if anyone in our audience has any. Of course, you can use the chat box if you prefer, or just shout them out. There has been a question in the chat box already. Have you spoken to the people at Seafood Watch or other rating programs about your work, and has it had an impact on your ratings yet, or will it in the future?
yes, we didn't speak so far, but we plan to do that. One of the persons involved in Open Tuna, Taishi consulting company, she was involved with Seafood Watch somehow in some projects, so she has some connection. But yes, it's our goal to talk with them. They are very important for us in this project because, for example, Whole Foods company, they only buy tunas which are green or yellow listed or with MSC label. So yes, we believe that we were too early to talk with them, but sometime in the road we are going to do that. We plan to do that.
Thank you. Another question we've got is, are you aware of how your work is going to impact things like MSC certification? Will that be recognized in the MSC assessment?
Yeah, I have, to be honest, I have not talked a bit about this yet, but I think, you know, somehow what we are doing is a kind of FIP in another direction. We are starting with a FIP pretty much because we are putting together different players and we are caring about, you know, we believe if we look into every single trip, you know, we have so many laws to follow, national, international regulations. So if a vessel is doing right, is following every single law, you know, is expected in the fish to become more sustainable in the long term. So if we can track every single trip for every single vessel, and they are doing everything correct, so you know, they carry fishing license, they have quotas to catch fish. So if they do everything right, in the end, we are going to have a more sustainable fishery. So this is how we are thinking. And yes, I guess we have sometime in the road also we have to sit with MSC and see how we can work together. It's funny somehow, not funny, but for example, the handline tunas. Right now there are FIPs with these handline tunas in our region to get MSC certification, and they have so many problems. But possibly, you know, they are going to make a big work to become MSC certified. So we are starting with this program, and I guess sometime in the road that could be a kind of utilized by MSC to put all together. Yeah.
Thank you. Got a question as well from Ali. Is vessel logbook data supplied to Global Fishing Watch so they can overlay with VMS data?
The vessel logbook is supplied to Oceana. Okay, Global Fishing Watch is getting the VMS data directly. They say, you know, in Brazil we have a law and some companies are authorized by government to provide the VMS system for the Brazilian program of monitoring of fishing vessels. So what we have done is authorized this Brazilian company to send the same signal they send to government is sent directly to Global Fishing Watch. And so Global Fishing Watch works together with the data from some of these vessels also have AIS signal. So, you know, they put the data from our vessels into their platform.
Great, thank you. Is that okay, Ali? Was that answered your question okay?
Yes and no. Sorry, there's something up with my camera. There we go. Yeah, so I understood that Oceana get the vessel logbook data, or do Global Fishing Watch get it as well?
The logbook, what I mean is the catch record, you know, what that system is providing, how many species, quantities, where, which temperature, which what place, that data goes to Oceana. That goes to Oceana. And Oceana works in the database which is available to the public in our website. Global Fishing Watch, I don't think they are getting the logbook. What they are getting is the VMS signal from our vessels, which is different thing. Okay. Brazil has a law where we have to have a VMS system on board, tracking the vessel, and we authorized that the company providing this signal to our government to also provide to Global Fishing Watch directly. Same signal goes to government and goes to Global Fishing Watch for the vessel.
So I understand what you're saying. Thank you.
Yep.
So Global Fishing Watch can see where the vessel has been.
Yes.
And I guess you can see from vessel speeds and direction when it's likely to have been fishing.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely.
But then, but it doesn't actually mean that it has been fishing, does it?
Well, Global Fishing Watch, they use artificial intelligence, and for the movement the vessel does in the ocean, they can tell if the vessel was performing a long line fishery, a trawling, or a different kind of fishery. So when we opened the data to them, the signal to them, they got back the signal to 2012, and you know, it's very interesting because you can see in about 15 days, you can see the vessel coming back to the port and then unloading. 10 days later goes out again, make the fishing trip. You can see the fishing trip, and then returns to the port, Natal port. So you can see this back to 2012. Pretty much the same movement. So sometimes they go more north, they go south, they go very close to us. Sometimes they go further, but you know, you can see everything, and this is available in the Global Fishing Watch platform. Also, you can see in our website. There is a specific layer for our fleet in their platform now.
Okay.
So just to add to that, Ali, one of the things that I'm doing with Global Fishing Watch is looking at the user needs to see what else you know, people might need from from the data that's presented at the moment. It's been primarily presented to port inspectors, helping with capacity building, monitor, control, and surveillance at government level. And so if there's a need to overlay electronic logbooks, observer data, all that sort of stuff, then that's one of the things that's being discussed at the moment from a Global Fishing Watch point of view. But certainly Oceana does that in terms of the Open Tuna website as it stands at the minute.
It's verification measures
Correct.
are really important in this.
Correct.
So
Yes.
Rodrigo, you
Data-
said, you know, blockchain, you can put data into it, you can see if it's been changed or adulterated, but that doesn't mean to say that the data that's gone in is good data. It's just data.
Sure, agreed.
So what we're interested in is that that data is good. And I can see
Yep.
that you're layering up the levels of assurance here through using different players to deliver that outcome. What's really useful from a market perspective is to have that in one place and it to be visible. I think this is brilliant, by the way, I really do. And we've done quite a lot of work over the last 3 or 4 years with Ocean Mind on tuna and verification of legality and catch method. And what's different here is this is in the public domain. So that's really impressive, you know, and the remote electronic monitoring stuff is a step on.
Yeah.
That's fantastic in terms of verification, really good.
Yes.
I'm just wondering, sorry, and I can see you're trying to come in. I'm just wondering, how do you think we could encourage this type of uptake more broadly, globally? What mechanisms? How could you?
Yes, you know, the long-term goal of Open Tuna is exactly like that. Provoke government, provoke the society, provoke the consumers, and especially provoke all the fisheries in Atlantic Ocean, in south of Brazil, all the vessels to join our program. So we are starting with this group, which is we are working together for a long time, but our plan is to expand to the entire Atlantic Ocean. We plan to bring the different fleets, different kind of fisheries, either like this handline tuna. We need to organize them. You know, they are producing lots of tunas, but it's very disorganized. So we plan to bring them to this environment. As well, we are open to join and to bring other partners to this project. It's really one of our goals. Also, bring more people, different players, and build this together. Build this together in a collaborative way. Okay, everybody's very welcome. Okay.
Thank you.
Well, that was a good discussion. Thanks very much. Brilliant for the presentations. Thank you very much for the questions. You know, special thanks obviously to Hugh and Rodrigo. If you have any further questions that spring to mind, please pass them on to me. I'll be glad to share them with Hugh and Rodrigo. The next webinar is going to be on 31st of August, and it's on the Cape Town Agreement, which is another area in our 5-year strategy. So on that, I will say thanks once again to Rodrigo and Hugh, and I will be circulating the slides and the recording to GTA partners, and I will also send a link of that to Rodrigo and Hugh as well.
Oh, thank you, Tom. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to discuss and present our project with the Global Tuna Alliance. It's an amazing opportunity, an honor, and we are open. If you have any more questions or any further discussions, we will be pleased to answer and discuss with you. Okay.
Thanks very much, everyone. Have a great remainder of your day.
Okay.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye. Goodbye.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye, Tatiana. Thank you.